I love this bit, Phin, when it starts with recording in progress.
Yeah,
Well, hello everybody. I'm very excited today because I've just been telling this gentleman, he's going to introduce himself in a minute. I've just been telling him he's looking really sick, and I've just explained to him the sick means nice. So if you're watching us and you're thinking, why is he looking sick? Sick means really cool. But hi, Phin. I'm not gonna steal your thunder. It'd be really good to just introduce yourself to us and where you're from and what you do.
Thanks, Brandie. Thanks for the opportunity to come and speak. My name's Phin Robinson. I'm a physiotherapist, trained 21 years ago. Set up a company called Pure Physiotherapy, which now is heavily involved in the provision of first contact physiotherapists in GP surgeries. Been working with yourself at Pier Health for several years now, and very passionate about the quality we deliver, not just of what FCP delivers, but of what physiotherapy can do. And seeing quality being driven really across all physiotherapy, MSK work, involved in all sorts of things. Still very enthusiastic after 21 years of being a physio.
21 years. I'm not even going to go there, Phin.
And I'll tell you what, actually, Brandie, this is interesting because today, I found it earlier on today, it is exactly 16 years ago today that I set up, incorporated Pure Physiotherapy. So that is, yeah, it's today. So today's the 16-year birthday of Pure Physio, which is, you're the first person I've told this to all day.
Fantastic. Well, you heard it first here.
Yeah, so there you go.
On that note then, tell us a little bit about Pure Physio. What's the business model? And I'm trying to go away from acronyms. So we said FCP, so just so that everybody's watching can understand. Tell us a bit about Pure Physio, how you actually formed it, why you formed it, and what is FCP.
Okay, so back in 2006, I qualified 2001. And I started developing a specialism in musculoskeletal problems, so backs, necks, shoulders type issues. And physio, like other allied health professionals, can move into pediatrics, respiratory, neurology, these different areas. I found a really interest in musculoskeletal, so necks, back, shoulders, sports injury type things. And from 2001 to 2006, I started specialising. And by 2006, I was really fortunate enough to have done some quite exciting roles towards sort of extended scope type roles. So I was doing things like joint injections and ordering scans and whatnot. And that was relatively early on in physios being able to do that. And what I found is that I was quite constrained with the NHS structure sometimes in how we could apply best practice. It took a long time to get something actually up and running. So we set up Pure Physiotherapy, myself and a colleague at the time. And we started doing a master's at the similar sort of time. So we started doing a postgraduate qualification. During that qualification, my colleague Nigel Tilley was headhunted by the European Golf Tour, and he still covers the European Golf Tour as a physio. And I continued with Pure Physio. So that was in 2006. Fast forward to 22, and we've now got about 150. We've got 197 physios at the minute. Which is, if you'd asked me 4 months ago, I'd have probably said 150. And we are growing rapidly, but we're growing, we don't say yes to everything. So we're looking for quality, which is what we set it up with. So we're looking, when I set it up, we wanted quality, we wanted the ability to be responsive. So to make decisions that made sense clinically, make them and then act on them quickly. So not wait 6 months or 12 months to sort of implement change. And we still have that ethos. So we don't say yes to everything that comes along. We get offered a lot of different opportunities, and the ones that we feel we can genuinely add value to, we will look to take forward. And the ones that we think probably are a bit too far for us to jump, we will honestly say no. And there's many examples where what looks great, we thought we aren't ready to do that, or we're not well positioned to do that. So we do what we think can work. And we're completely clinically run. So there's myself, the clinical leadership team. We don't call them managers anymore. We like to call them leaders, because we're trying to encourage people to come along. They're all clinicians as well. And we've got some fantastic people that come on to help us as well, sort of more organized minds operationally. But it's very exciting to be involved. And I had an interview this morning actually with a fantastic physio, and he asked me 2 questions at the end of the interview, which were surprising. He said, one of the questions was, what's the best and worst thing you've experienced as a physio during your time as a physio? And the other thing is, what does good or success look like to you, to me, for him. So what does he need to do to make me feel he's been successful? And that was a brilliant question, because I've never been asked it before in an interview. It seems maybe a simple question to ask, but I've never been asked it by a physio. And the answer for me was just do the basics well. Just get in, keep the patients happy, do the basics well, be reliable, provide quality, want to develop and accept that development, but also put your hand up if you don't know and ask questions. So I think at Pure, we're really keen to have a very inclusive, motivated team, but also we want to be supporting and developing. And we had that back in 2006, and we've definitely got that now in 2022. So yeah, 16-year anniversary. It's a weird thing. And I never thought when I started the practice with myself in a little room in a gym in Rotherham, which is where I set the clinic up, seeing all sorts of people. Then fast forward, these 16 years, and we'd have 197 physios. We cover many areas across England with the first contact physio work, which, as you say, is where there's a physiotherapist working in a GP surgery and providing that first point of contact. So if someone on a weekend is laying a patio, for example, and they pull the back on a Monday morning, they ring the GP to say, look, I think I might have done something to my back. We would be the people that would see them as specialist physios as opposed to perhaps the GP. And that's great, because that's all we do is see musculoskeletal problems. So that's what we do. Apologies, I'm gonna have to stop. My daughter's on a roller skates. Rosie, can you just leave a few minutes for that?
This is not being edited out. We are keeping it.
Well, it should be. It should
well
be.
Well done, Rosie.
Yeah. She's taking them off. So yeah, very, very proud of where we are.
I mean, gosh, firstly, let's just take a moment to say congratulations and happy birthday to Pure Physio, 16 years. And as you've just eloquently walked us through, is growing from something and nothing to something and something, which is amazing. So what does the structure look like at First Physio? So we know you've got over 150 people. How does it work?
197 now.
197, there you go.
Yeah. So I think that's a really good question, because one of the things that we didn't want to lose as we grew is the sort of, I want to say, it is a sort of family feel. That's what we're trying to maintain, that we can have when you've got 5 or 10 or 15 staff. It's hard, very hard when you get more. So what we're really keen to do is make sure that we have, the structure is quite clear. It's quite flat. So we don't want anyone can get in touch with me or anyone else. There's no sort of hierarchical way in which you can't talk to this person unless you've talked to this person. You can just go wherever you want. But we want real clear lines of communication if they want to talk to, who's their team lead, who's their area lead, etc. And we've got each area in the country has then got the physios that work there. Then they'll have team leads, which are never more than 6 people per one team lead, which means that they always know personally who their team lead is. And then in turn, the team leads have only ever 6 of them before there's an area lead. So we keep it, there's only ever 6 people you're really looking after in a significant way, in a very personal way. And we want to keep it that way. So we're not saying there's one manager for 100 staff. We want to not have any managers. We want to have leaders that are sort of hopefully inspiring and bringing people on. And we're fortunate to have great sort of HR support. We recently, I say recently, probably about 4 or 5 months ago now, got a specific sort of well-being and onboarding type role where not HR, but someone that I'll just give her a shout out, is Charlie Chopsy. She's done a great job.
Hey, Charlie.
and done a great job at sort of, she's super enthusiastic, and we're looking to build that well-being and engagement with our team. And we want to know the people that feel a little bit disenfranchised or a little bit isolated, because they're the ones that we want to give that support to bring them in. And that's what we've always tried to do. So the structure is really trying to maintain that family friendly culture, motivational culture, hopefully, by doing as much development as you can, but also by identifying people that might be struggling or might need a bit of a support, and helping to give them that support. So no one's feeling too isolated. And that, as we've grown, we've got about another 40 people that are due to come on before Christmas. So we've got, it's going to be huge. And so we don't want to lose what we've gained and worked hard to keep. And there's a cost to that to us financially, but we're happy to pay it because we want it. It's worth it to have that.
That's awesome. I get exactly what you mean around actually growing while still, I describe it as not being too big to be small and not being too small to be
Yeah,
big. It's so
yeah,
important, isn't it? And in
yeah.
terms of FCP itself, from the point of view of patients, if you're a patient, how does that benefit you? And we still have people that aren't quite keen on the whole FCP
Yeah,
gig. What can
yeah.
you tell us that would encourage people that still want to see a GP, and also the benefits that FCP brings?
Okay, brilliant. Thank you. Great questions. So, so FCP, first contact physiotherapy, is something I'm a complete convert, a huge fan of. We were really lucky at Pure to be given very early trials on trying first contact physiotherapists back in 2016. So there's currently this initiative, additional roles reimbursement scheme, which supports first contact physios in practice. But this is well before that. And the trial was set up for us to see in GP surgeries, could we improve the quality of the consultation that took place for that patient? Because all we do is see musculoskeletal problems. A GP has got a hard job. They've got cardiac problems, respiratory problems, musculoskeletal problems, pediatric problems, mental health problems, huge range of things they need to focus on. We are specialists just in musculoskeletal problems. So the benefit, I think, of having a first contact physiotherapist as the first person you call or see if you have a musculoskeletal problem, so backs, necks, shoulders, osteoarthritis, chronic pain, neck problems, a whole raft of different problems you may present with, why not see a specialist in that area rather than a generalist who will have good knowledge, but they aren't specialists in that specific area? Every physio's had minimum 3 years training undergraduate, and then for an FCP, typically an additional 5 years postgraduate training. So you're talking 8 years of just MSK. Now, GPs typically will have had some time within their medical training, but you're talking, if they've had more than a year or two, it'd be very unusual. So we're fortunate to have real specialism in just musculoskeletal, which means that patients that come in are getting an expert opinion on that musculoskeletal problem. If we feel, and this does happen, that actually when the person comes in, let's say with back pain, and we ask some questions, and it turns out that some of the answers they give make us think that this could be more a gastrointestinal problem, a stomach problem, then we can refer into our GP colleagues. So it's not like it's one or the other. We work as a team, and I think that's one of the lovely things about the roles that are working in primary care in GP surgeries now, is that they can inter-refer. So we can talk, we can knock on the GP's door, we can knock on the pharmacist's door, or we can send them messages, and we can work with that patient that comes in as a team rather than just as an individual on their own. So I think for patients that feel, well, I want to see a GP, I understand that. You hear it, people saying, I want to see a GP, and that's what I want to see. If you were to say to that person, look, no problem, you can see a GP, or the pressures that GP under, which everyone knows, means you're probably going to wait a while. That's understandable. You could probably see a musculoskeletal specialist within a day, within 2 days, within 3 days. And if they have any concerns, they can order scans, they can order X-rays, they can work with the GP to get prescriptions, the pharmacist. They can do everything that the GP should be able to do, specifically trained in that area. So for me, it's one of the real strengths of FCP is the specialism that we bring, musculoskeletal specialism to that element of consultation. And I think GPs may have a real interest in MSK, and some are absolutely interested in it, but others are more interested in all these other areas which they have to know about: cardiology, cancer care, etc. We're specialists in one area. We know when something's not our area, so we flag it appropriately to a GP, to other colleagues. So we call safety net. So if someone rings up we see someone and they're saying things that make us feel that there's something else going on, if it doesn't make sense as musculoskeletal, we'll flag it. We won't sit on it. We'll make sure we're flagging the right people to review that case. So it's a win-win, in my opinion. People get in quick, they see a specialist in their area with the knowledge that if we can't help, we'll refer internally to people that can help.
That's awesome. Yeah, that really makes sense. And I think if there's anyone watching who's a bit skeptical about that, you heard it from Phin. It's a win-win, really. One of the things I'm dying to talk to you about is that whole founder effect. So I've been lucky in my life. I've worked with founders and I've worked in PLCs, all sorts. And one of the things that I absolutely admire about founders is the passion, because you don't go and start something without having that passion for it and actually putting it to to real fruity, to make sure that it's exactly how you want it. But it's also another side of being a founder and working in the organization, isn't it? Because you are so, you've got so much agency into it, that sometimes it's very difficult to actually step out of it and let things just happen. And we know when we allow things to happen, that's when we learn. How do you find that balance yourself, and how do you manage to stay really grounded as a founder working in the organization that you founded, which is growing?
Well, yeah. So the one thing that I was really keen not to be is I've talked the word again a few times, a manager, a CEO or something else. You can have any title you want, but I wanted to be a physio first and foremost. So I still work clinically every week. I'll still see patients every week. And that's something that I promised myself early on that I would do. And I'm doing it every week, and I love it. In fact, it's probably the most relaxing part of my week is actually seeing patients.
I bet.
It's nice, and you get all the things that, you know, someone walking in with a bad back or a bad shoulder, and you start from scratch, and it reminds you every week why you're taking sometimes the stressful decisions that you have to take, because you want to see this done well, you want to see it done well. We can influence so many people's lives. I mean, we treat about 26,000 patients every month in Pier at the minute, which is, considering I'd have seen, I don't know, 10 when it first started, it is insane. And so it's a real privilege to be able to help that many people. And I want everyone to feel that privilege of being able to help people. So seeing the patients is important. Stepping back and allowing people that are better than me at certain things, which there are an awful lot of people, an awful lot better at me at an awful lot of things, allowing that has been probably one of the things which has allowed the company to grow. So I think if it's very difficult when you've got a passion for something and you think you do it brilliantly, which I think when you start, you've an element of that, you think you're doing it very well. It's difficult then to say, well, I'm going to bring in someone and train them or facilitate them, or bring someone in who's better than you already to help you with that. And it was probably my sister-in-law who said, I'll help you with some admin. This is years ago, probably 12, 13 years ago. And I thought, no, I'm on top of it. And she came in for a couple of weeks just to look at what I was doing. And it was a real shambles. And she said, look, Phin, this is a shambles. And she initially was quite resistant. And then I got a full-time administrator. Then we got a few more physios. And so once I realized that there's a real value in having a team you can trust, and they will get things wrong, but probably no more than I get things wrong. In fact, I'd say nowadays, a lot less than I get things wrong. So we've got a fantastic team of people now, and absolutely brilliant all over the UK. And that's allowed me to step back, because I can have faith that they probably know better than me. I ultimately, I want to be in that treatment room still treating patients. But that passion is what helps me to drive the decisions for the business. But I certainly don't think I would never want to get to the point where I feel I'm too big to listen to people's opinions and recognize actually I get things wrong and they could be right and often are right. It's been a great learning curve and a great realization to recognize that often someone else has got valid opinions, often much better opinions or views or actions than I might have. Takes time to get to that, I think.
It's just, yeah, and you know, as a founder, hats off to you, because it's quite something, isn't it? Creating something, living in it, breathing it, making sure that it sticks to the ethos that you want it to remain. So well done, you. I'm going to know what actually keeps you awake as a founder, and because you've got all these physios working for you, you've got an organization that you've got to protect reputation of. What keeps you awake?
Probably letting people down is a difficult one, and that's, you know, letting, if someone comes on board, let's take this chap today that we interviewed. Now I don't even know whether we're going to give him a job. It was really great. If he's listening, he's really great, and he was lovely and did very, very well. But I don't know when
got the job.
We'll see. But when the other people are interviewed, because I don't often interview loads of people. We interview. This is an interesting fact, fascinating. I found out recently from our recruitment team. We had 336 people apply for a job last month in Pier. We interviewed about 60 and we recruited 15. So we have got a very high standard. We interview an awful lot of people. So unfortunately, I'm not on a lot of the interviews, but I was on this one today. And the chap did brilliantly. But what worries me is, let's say he comes on board and he's bought what we're selling, which is all the things I've said, which is exactly what we are doing, which is the quality, the support, the opportunities. But we do want hard work, and it's we want to see that. And he was great with that, how he responded to that. My worry is 6 months down the line, he comes on board and he rings him and said, Phin, I don't feel supported. I don't feel this. I don't feel this. So that's what I class as letting someone down. I want to make sure what we're selling is what we are delivering. And whether that's to a customer, whether that's to an employee, that is what keeps me up at night, is making sure we are doing what we say we're going to do. And I do sleep well, so it's not like it keeps me up very often. But because I think we are, I think we are. I had a PCN this morning who'd done an independent piece of a primary care network, done an independent piece of work on their patients, asking for feedback on the FCP service. Now, I didn't know what was happening. I don't think any of us knew what was happening. And the feedback was brilliant this morning. And it was so lovely to get the email and say, oh, this is great. Yeah, I wasn't expecting. We haven't been supporting the PCN that long. And the feedback from patients was sort of 87% would recommend it to friends and family. And 93% would have seen a GP, but then they saw us. It saved all those slots that a GP would have had to see. So it's lovely to see. So that's sort of, I do think we deliver what we're trying to deliver and what we say we're delivering. But it does worry me, and I think it's a healthy thing.
It is
to think, look, we can't be complacent. We've got to make sure we're innovating. We've got to make sure we're taking feedback, sometimes hard feedback, and acting on it. I think that's key.
I absolutely agree. I think, our customers are our teams, aren't they? They're our first customers, and then the rest are our patients, our customers, our citizens, whatever industry that you're in. And like you said as well, you just want to make sure that everyone feels like you are delivering what you say you want to do, because people work for people at the end of the day, don't they?
They do. Yeah. That's a really good thing, actually. That's something my dad used to say, was that there is no such thing as business. It's people. It's people. Yeah. And that's something I fundamentally believe. You're dealing with people, and if you're dealing with people, then, and that's what we do in healthcare, particularly more than anything else. Perhaps we're dealing with people. So be human and be flawed, but be honest, and do what you can do to try and deliver what you're saying you're going to do. And it's a great point.
Absolutely agree. And we at Pier, so we've got a perfect marriage between Pier and Pure, and we love you guys because you help us serve our patients much better. And you only went and won our Fit for Partnership Award at the conference. It was awesome seeing you guys all rushing to the stage. It was. We loved it. And how did it actually feel for you guys? And the magic question is, are you going to be holding on to it? Because there's other departments that want it. The ceremony, which was, when was it? Was it in February, March? It was, wasn't it? March. It was St. Patrick's Day, whatever day.
It was. So we've got a fantastic team of physios in Pier, in Weston-super-Mare, which we're really proud of. It's built up over time, and we've now got, must be pretty much 6 FCPs there and a regional lead looking after them. So you've got a very strong team. When we heard that there's a sort of an award ceremony, me and Tom Beadle, the operations director, so we definitely want to come down. So we drove across from Norfolk that day, and we knew we'd be up against it, because I thought, it's a big organisation. You're looking after 610,000 patients, thereabouts. It's
over big, 100,
So we thought, we'll see how we go. I knew the team was good. I knew they were really good, but we were up against pharmacy, mental health. There's some really strong teams. And during the course of the day, there was different seminars going on. And I was lucky enough we delivered 1 or 2 ourselves as Pure Physio, but we were also lucky enough to see some of the pharmacy one of the mental health ones. And I thought, we were tapping each other and saying, I don't know whether we're up against it here. I think we might be token members of this category. So when the announcement came out and they said Pure Physio, Ed, who's the team lead,
were noisy because I was sat in front of you guys.
we were very enthusiastic. We didn't expect to win, not through lack of hard work. They worked really hard, but we were very excited about it. And Simon, who's our marketing chap, took some good videos. The video that's taken on the day, we then chopped up a little bit internally, which was really good. And then it was the whole team, the whole national team was buoyed by it, because it showed that physio itself, the FCP service itself, is seen as valuable. And sometimes I think everyone's probably guilty of not giving enough feedback to say, look, yeah, have good weeks, bad weeks, but overall, this is fantastic. And I think it was a nice boost. And I shouted about it quite a bit. And anyone that's on meetings with me since probably for the next year or so will probably hear me talking about it. So it was a real honor, and we loved it. And as I said earlier on, for me, the whole day was great at bringing the wider teams together. I mean, there's a lot. How many people were there? There's
a lot of people, and remember this. We had quite a few cancellations because of COVID as well. But yes,
hundreds and hundreds of people. I mean, it was extraordinary, and it was such a good day. The day itself with the conferences, the evening with the sort of celebratory element. It was fantastic, and the next day we had pretty sore heads, I must admit. So,
I bet you did. Fantastic.
Yeah,
well, hold on tight to it. Until somebody else snaps it or not.
We'll do our best. We'll do our best. I think we'll have to. You have to put in some extra effort for next year to see how we get on with it.
You're going to have to pull it all out of the bag. Yeah. But Phin, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, learning all about FCP, learning about Pure Physio, about yourself as a founder, your enthusiasm for your team and for the organization that you founded, and everything else. You've got a minute to plug in anybody that you want to plug in and say your thank yous, and then give your website out.
True. Thanks, Brandie. It's been a pleasure. Thanks for asking me along. So yeah, we provide FCP nationally. Brandie's a great example of where we are working in Pier Health, and we've got probably about 70 PCNs and federations across the country, across England, working under the additional roles scheme. Website is purephysiotherapy.co.uk. So nice and straightforward. And I'm on LinkedIn. I'm a bit of a LinkedIn addict, unfortunately. I don't know what's happened there. A one sentence line about LinkedIn. I thought it was probably a complete waste of time. I went skiing. I'm rubbish at skiing. So I set my time, this is about 2 years ago, sat in a little cafe, just setting up a LinkedIn account because the marketing people said I should probably do it. Since then, I've not been off it. So I don't know what's happened.
Don't worry, I love it too.
Unlike Twitter, so Twitter can be quite negative, but LinkedIn seems to be really supportive. So anyway, on LinkedIn. But yeah, thank you very much for your time, and thanks for asking me along. And if anything, I'd say to anyone that's got FCPs or is looking at FCP service, look at the quality, look at what they're delivering. Expect a lot as well from your team. You shouldn't be having to spoon feed these people. These should be experienced physios coming in with good knowledge and enthusiasm, and that's certainly what we try and give.
Fantastic. Well, there's a partnership, I'm sure, forever at Pier and Pure. Thank you so much to you and your team for continually helping us to deliver great services to our patients. Thank you.
Thank you.